y'all ready, this is no other than the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Power Media, we got a dope lineup for y'all today. So I hope y'all ready. Alright, let me introduce you to our host. We got no other than Burn It Down Kim Brown and Jackie Luman. Yeah, we had somebody else, but they had to get their computer thing ready. I'm gonna introduce them though.
I don't know what happened, but good morning, y'all.
What?
As good of a morning as it can be.
Kim, you look bright.
Are you cracking?
I mean, you're bright yellow and your face, you look bright.
Sounded like half a crack to me.
I don't know how to respond, Jackie. I'm like,
let me respond with this. Ricky Ryan.
Morning.
What's up? All the ladies in the building. It's Ladies' Day.
All the ladies in the house say, ow.
Ow, that's actually a genuine ow. My knee. Just
this is that's old folk problem. Word. How y'all doing?
Ooh, it was rough yesterday. It was it's hard to keep your spirits up in the midst of all this. It really is. It is. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah. Jesus.
Hey, we here for you, Jack. We are here for you. Talk to us anytime, on and off the air. We here. What's up, Kim? What's good with you?
I waked and baked this morning. Now I'm regretting it.
All right.
So there's that.
And Ricky, how are you doing with that microphone sounding all great today?
Oh, good. I'm happy. I'm trying to figure it out. Come out, spend a lot of money. So
as he reminds you every show.
The big feat for him.
Word.
How you feeling, ear doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Somebody asked me how am I doing. Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready for my getaway. I got a gig today, a cookout type thing I'm DJing today.
Cookout?
Yeah.
Late season cookout.
All right, it's still summer in Atlanta, right?
Depends on the time.
That's right.
Depends on the time of the day. I got 100. I'm working with 100 black men of Atlanta tomorrow. Then I'm DJing at a high school Friday, and then Mexico Sunday. So
whoa, hold on. Wait a second. What you doing in Mexico? I'm all in your business.
It's a DJ coalition type convention type joint.
Very nice. What part? What part of the country?
Punta Minta or something like that.
Yeah. It's the International Syndicate of DJs.
It's where Illuminati goes. Illuminati picks their DJs.
The doctor's going to report on the activities of Black Power Media.
Hey, I got to go out and do something, spread the love and stuff throughout the world. So
That's what's up. I hope you have a good time.
I will. I'll have pictures and stuff come back. Bless y'all. But I won't be around next week.
Shirtless pictures, please and thank you.
No.
On the beach, flexing. Give me some poses. Make sure your light is right. No shadows.
I don't lift weights.
Isn't his light kind of naturally sort of?
Oh,
thank you.
We stand with the bright jokes.
No, wow.
Jackie,
Just making an observation.
Okay. I could go. All right. So, ladies. Before we was talking, Kim, you was telling me about Jim Jones. I know this is some random stuff before we get into the stories, but what was you telling me about Jim Jones, yo?
All right, disclaimer, this is absolute nonsense. But apparently Jim Jones is calling shenanigans on one of the revelations Jada Pinkett Smith made in her new memoir, where she said that she used to sell crack when she was a teenager. And Jimmy don't believe her.
He said he
It's
want
like,
receipts.
He want
he
he want
wants
receipts like
He want fiends
Whitney
to come
did.
out. He said he needs. It's definitely some fiends still around that you could talk to that can say if she was out there selling.
I
Oh
mean, it's not
Lord.
a stretch to me, but
I
you
mean,
know, I
yeah,
don't. That's an odd thing to fabricate. So
Is
yeah.
it?
I think so. I mean,
I,
People
I mean,
lie
we
about,
are talking about Jada Pinkett Smith.
and I mean, and just in general, lots of people lie. I mean, rappers do it all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Whole
but it's
careers
like
off of lies.
like Jada don't need no street cred out here. Jada been out of the streets for a
I
very
mean,
long time. She's been Hollywood forever. She don't need no street cred out here.
Abusive father, mom on heroin. I mean, I could see it happening.
I mean,
Absolutely.
she
Yeah.
didn't have to write a memoir, but here we are.
There's that too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who cares, really? Sidetracking of the slave, as Kalanji would say. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I know we got a lot of news, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and then we're gonna start it up. So let's do that right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and y'all tuned in to the best morning show on the planet. God, in case you didn't know, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Go to patreon.com and become a member over there, and you're gonna see some things. So go do that, and that's how it is. All right, boom. So what we gonna talk about today? Let's see. There are certain songs. I'm gonna do a real quick one. There's certain songs and certain albums that were pretty dope and looked over. So I wanted to talk about a certain artist that came about and did his thing. And who am I going to talk about today? No other than, see, I ain't even had this pulled up. Oh, damn shame. I'm going to talk about this artist. He goes by the name of Donnie. That's right, Donnie. Donnie came out back in 2002. Let me see. He came out in 2002 with a dope album called The Color Section. Now, you can hear one of the songs right here called Cloud 9. Now, 2002, this 2002 artist came out of Atlanta, The Colored Section. Powerful spiritual look at black life history, race, relationships, personal perspective that channeled his idols Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and Donny Hathaway. This was at a time right after 9/11 and the run-up to the Iraq War. The Color Section soulful mediations on black history, identity, racism, colorism, violence, spirituality, self-empowerment, and gay love still sound vibrant as it just came out yesterday. So, in case you don't know, go check out this artist right there. He goes by the name of Donnie. Has some dope songs, so that's what it is. Check out The Colored Section. All right. Now let's get back to our Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. Happy to be nappy. Jack K is on froze. Let's take her off the screen there and bring her right back. Bam. See how that happens? Y'all know about that album right there? Anything
no.
No, I think I've heard that. I know I've heard that song, but I did not know who it was, and that's the album it came from. So thank you for that, because I like that song.
Yeah,
I liked it. I just never heard it.
No, I remember the album when it came out, and admittedly, like I was aware of it, but I slept on it, to be honest. I think per your recommendation, I need to go revisit it.
Yeah. It definitely, you can hear those undertones of Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, and all that. So, very soulful album. I used to catch the 71 bus on Cascade Road, seeing this dude all the time go and perform downtown at the Apache Cafe with Indy Irie and Anthony David. So, yeah, that's what it is. All right, with that said, let me go ahead and get out of here and let y'all get to the news. Peace.
Peace, Ear Doctor. Well, ladies, y'all ready to get into some stories this morning?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Slap the map. Top of the morning to you remixers. It's the Remix Morning Show, live and direct, Black Power Media, on this good Wednesday, October the 18th, 2023. We got Jacqueline Lukman, Erica Keynes, Kim Brown, the Ear Doctor in the building. Remixes, y'all in the building as well. So don't forget to hit the like on the video when you come in, when you come out. Support the channel, become a channel member, or be a patron, patreon.com/Black Power Media. We got some good stories to get into on today, this lady's first, second, and third edition of the Remix Morning Show. So unfortunately, there's too many places to go this morning. Does anybody have a particular place where we should begin?
Yeah. Last Friday in DC, thousands of people showed up in support of Palestine, and the comrade Rafiki Morris gave an incredible speech. And I wanted to just open us up with that. It's roughly 3 minutes or so.
Yep, do it.
It's in the chat.
Snatch that up.
My name is Rafiki Morris. I'm an organizer with the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And I'm a member of the coordinating committee of the Black Alliance for Peace. And I'm usually not at a loss for words. But these are some solemn times. And our hearts are crying. There's anger and frustration in the air. Everybody's grieving the death of our comrades, our children, our mothers, our fathers in Palestine. But it's at these times, when the tears are falling, when the blood is in the streets, that we need to step back and look the face of horror dead in the eye so we can make sure we understand what is going on. Fortunately or unfortunately, they are showing you their whole playbook. They're showing you their whole plan. They're revealing all the options that they have available to them. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have seen it all before. In Panama, in 1989, searching for a man who they claimed was the biggest drug kingpin in the Western Hemisphere, they destroyed Panama City. They bombed Panama City. They murdered the people of Panama. They said they were looking for drugs, but they never found no drugs. They went into Panama with bombs and they left Panama in control of the Panama Canal. It was about the land. It was about the land. They went into Kuwait. They said that Saddam Hussein was a murderous pig. They murdered the people in Kuwait, and then they went to Baghdad and they bombed Baghdad in search of weapons of mass destruction. They destroyed Baghdad. They dragged Saddam Hussein through the streets, and no weapons of mass destruction was ever found. They went in there with bombs and they left with control of the Iraqi oil. It was about the land. It was about the land. It was about the land. They went into my homeland. They went into Libya. claiming that Muammar Gaddafi, the friend of the masses of African people everywhere, was killing his own people. We all knew it was a lie. They destroyed Tripoli. They dropped bombs on Tripoli. They dragged Muammar Gaddafi through the streets, and they, in the end, they left with control of our riches, with control of our oil, with control of our water, and they left jihadist murderers to come throughout Africa to justify the rest of them U.S. pigs coming in there to steal our resources. It was about the land. It was about the land. It was about the land. You see, when they come with bombs, they come for resources. For us, it is death. They destroy our homes. They destroy our hospitals. They destroy our schools. Their invasions for us is a catastrophe, but for them it's a real estate deal. They're going to level Gaza because they want Gaza. Israel never had fixed borders. They never said people could stay there indefinitely. They never stopped expanding the illegal, racist state of Israel, and they will never stop. They will never stop. And so we have to look at this thing clearly and understand what's going on. The Washington Post is Zionist. The New York Times is Zionist. The Washington Times is Zionist. The U.S. Congress is Zionist. The President of the United States is Zionist. The U.S. Senate is Zionist. And we are not appealing to the Zionists for our liberation. We are here to tell them that we will seize our freedom. And we cannot be stopped.
Whew. That was stirring, to say the least.
Yeah.
Can't get clearer than that, other than,
Right. And that was Rafiki Morris from the AAPRP and Black Alliance for Peace. And you can find that speech on BAP's YouTube. But yeah, I think it was an incredibly moving speech to be out there with thousands of people, especially. You could feel it in the crowd. In the end, they chant Free Palestine, and then he goes into an Arabic chant from the old PLO chant that really set off the crowd. So it was really, really good. But I think the emphasis on settler colonialism, it being about the land, making the connection with Panama, making that connection with Africa, understanding that this is about the expansion of Western hegemony and nothing less. And to that type of broad audience, I think was really, really important to make those key connections, because there's a lot of misinformation. Black Alliance for Peace, we wrote our statement. Black Lives Matter Chicago endorsed the statement and posted it and tagged BAP, and the Instagram page has been full of Zionists attacking both BAP and Black Lives Matter. Pushing back on our concept of peace. Like, you guys are supposed to be an organization of peace, and not, we have to define peace. Peace is not without struggle. We don't, peace is not kumbaya. We all hold hands. We all call for ceasefires, and that's the end of the day. We understand that peace comes with struggle. So I think it's just, especially with the events that's been unrolling in the last 24 hours, it's really, really important to stand strong in supporting and defending the resistance of Palestinians in any form that it takes.
Yeah, and in defending the resistance of Palestinians who have been fighting not just for their sovereignty and their land, but obviously their lives, and that fight has intensified in the past, weeks since October 7th. I mean, the way that the corporate media in the West has framed the actions of not just Hamas. Please stop thinking that what happened on October 7th was just Hamas. And I don't really care what people think about Hamas being a terrorist organization. or not. I don't care what you think about Hamas, but they were engaged and they are engaged in the liberation of Palestinian people, along with several other Palestinian groups, Palestinian liberation groups that were involved not only on October 7th, but in the entirety of the 75-year struggle of liberation for Palestine. So this is not a Hamas is a terrorist organization, and Hamas needs to be targeted, and Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinian people. We don't have a right to tell the Palestinian people who represents them. That's not our business. So there's that. And the fact that right now, last night, the white supremacist apartheid regime of Israel, the illegitimate regime of Israel, bombed a hospital full of people. They warned 6 hospitals in Gaza to evacuate. They literally told the doctors and the staff basically to leave your patients, because where are they going to take people? Where are they going to evacuate their patients to if you've told basically all of the hospitals in the region in the north of Gaza to evacuate? Evacuate to where? Where are people going to go? They can't leave Gaza. Then when they try to leave Gaza, Israel bombs the exit points. Then they try to go south to the south of Gaza, which is what Israel told people to do. And then Israel bombs the south of Gaza. Where are they going to go? So the doctors and the staff said, we're not going anywhere. We're not leaving our patients here to die because we know what you're about to do. Because they told them, why else are you going to tell people to evacuate unless you're going to bomb them? It was a warning. So Israel followed through on their threat, and they bombed a hospital. And then, of course, they tried to blame Hamas immediately. Hamas did it. Hamas bombed their own hospital. They kill our children. They kill their children too. If you know anything about Palestinian resistance, any Palestinian resistance group, you would know that they don't have the kind of artillery that can destroy an entire hospital like that. They don't have rockets, don't do that kind of damage, never have. But all of a sudden, Palestinians, Hamas, has the kind of weaponry that can utterly destroy a hospital after Israel told them to evacuate because we fit in a bomb, y'all. Mm-hmm. Not just one hospital, 6. They made that threat against 5 other hospitals. So now they claim to have released video evidence that it was Hamas rockets. Well, Twitter being the undefeated champ that it is, people have realized that the date stamps on the videos indicate that the video footage that the Israeli Defense Fund has presented is old. They've done this twice now in the past 2 days, claiming that Hamas is responsible for this obvious Israeli attack on a hospital, where now the death count is estimated to be upwards of 1,500 people. Israel is not doing this simply because they hate Palestinians. They do. It's true. They do. They're not doing this simply because they're white supremacist, racist, Zionists. It's true. That is why they're doing it. But ultimately, as Rafiki said, and as we understand, because we are anti-imperialists, and we know what all oppression against oppressed people around the world is about, it's about the damned land, and it's about the damned resources, whether it's in Palestine or Haiti or Iraq or Afghanistan or Niger. It is the land, it is the resources, and they will kill every single one of us to get.
And so just for right now, they're saying that the numbers are about 500 potentially. It could go up, and they're blaming Islamic Jihad specifically for the so-called fail. But I completely agree with you. No errant rocket perfectly strikes a hospital that destroys the whole hospital. So that is obviously an Israeli strike. Biden is now landed in Israel, giving cover to the lie that it was some errant strike by resistance forces, namely Islamic Jihad. And the way the papers have covered, like you said, the way the media has covered it, it's been they've been calling it a blast. So that's they keep saying a blast, not an Israeli missile attack that destroyed the hospital, but they're calling it a blast. And they will continue to call it a blast so that they don't pin the actual blame on Israel. And then what will happen is in 3 years, the New York Times will do some investigative report and then say, oh, we found out it was Israel. Because then it'll be 3 years later and they'll say they corrected the record kind of thing. But in the moment, they're clearly echoing the line of Israeli propaganda and partly of U.S. propaganda, of course, to suggest somehow that the explosion of an entire hospital was from an errant missile that went into the hospital. So it's a ridiculous propaganda scheme. But major media, so-called media outlets in the United States are covering it as such. Like there is some speculation somehow that this so-called errant rocket landed perfectly on the hospital to destroy the whole hospital. And I agree completely. It has to be clear that this is a missile strike by Israel. They've done it before. They've struck schools. They've struck hospitals. It doesn't matter because, as folks have already said, this is about moving Palestinians off their land permanently, which is always for them. This is Russia's the plan forward. It's always been you get a one-way ticket out through Egypt, and then once you get out, we don't come back in. So this is furthering that plan. People are not focusing on the West Bank right now. The last numbers I saw were over 60 Palestinians killed in the West Bank. As was noted earlier in another story, that the IDF is handing out machine guns to settlers who are now going around blasting Palestinians. The so-called Middle East governments that are supporting Palestine are basically sitting silent and are doing not much at all. Jordan, which historically has sold out the Palestinian cause. Egypt, which has historically sold out the Palestinian cause. Saudi Arabia, which has historically and currently selling out the Palestinian cause, are providing lip service and nothing else. They're doing nothing. The only groups that are coming to the defense of the Palestinians is Hezbollah, is Iran in a sense. But these groups are also the nation, and these groups are also deemed terrorist nations or terrorist groups. And so therefore, anything that they do is illegitimate. So Biden is there now trying to open up so-called humanitarian, humanitarian corridors, because no food is allowed in, no water is allowed in, no electricity is on, and people are actually nearing starvation. They're calling it a humanitarian crisis, which is a nice way of saying people are being starved. They don't have any place to go. So all this is happening with the U.S. bringing in 2 aircraft. What is it called? The aircraft carriers.
One of them the largest in the world.
To warn other nations and other groups that the United States is squarely on Israeli side. So this is for them. It's not going to happen, but for them another attempt at exterminating, ethnic cleansing, moving again the historical belief system that they're going to create greater Israel. Remember, their plan was always to take the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and other areas, because for them, what was given to them by the United Nations, by the British, or by the League of Nations, by the British, was never good enough. For them, that was only a part. That was a time holder. Their plans were always bigger, and now they're trying to use this time period to fulfill in a large way, to jump forward, a great leap forward, as we say, for them to take over all of historic Palestine and other areas that they want to call their own.
Yeah, and this moment, I think for me, and this what happened last night is the reason I'm in such a foul mood. It's not because it's hard. these kinds of moments where something so horrific happens that it propels thousands into the streets, that in a weird way is what fuels a part of the revolutionary optimism that, you know, you heard me and Sean talk about all the time on By Any Means Necessary, because there's no other, there's no silver lining in this kind of thing happening when these, you know, historic atrocities happen. And they happen in, you know, when empires are always fighting for their legitimacy. This isn't the first, you know, massacre that Israel has carried out. This isn't the first massacre of oppressed people. You know, 10,000 people dying from cholera in Haiti a few years ago after the last UN invasion of the country. So the ability for us in the Black Alliance for Peace, for us Black radicals, for us anti-imperialists, for us principled anti-imperialists and anti-Zionists, to be able to look at this horror and connect all of the struggles of working class and poor and oppressed people around the world who are struggling under the exact same system. That's important. So it's not a matter, and I saw the comment, the question in the chat, and I'm glad the question was asked. Why is this issue getting more attention than, like, say, the impending invasion of Haiti, which is now stalled because the Kenyan Supreme Court ruled that military or police forces of Kenya cannot be sent to another country because it's a violation of their constitution. So for right now,
but I'm sorry, but I mean, there's an active military war going on to destroy. So of course it's going to get more attention right now.
Right. So I was, we
had like over
getting to.
3,500 deaths in Palestine. So
right,
that's not, we can't play that game with people. It's like, yeah, this is actively happening. So and of course, when we've talked about Haiti already, and we will continue to talk about Haiti, but it's actively happening as we speak. Bombs are being dropped on people's heads.
Right. And I think it's also important because I think that goes along
for a second. Go ahead.
I think it goes along the lines of, like, why should we care about what's going on? This is not a Black issue, etc. Not really understanding the long tentacles of Zionism and how that impacts not just Palestine, but the African world in total. Like, Zionism does not just stay in Israel. We see the effects of it with them trying to enter the AU, the African Union, the deadly exchange here in the US. So I don't think it's a matter of, like, prioritizing one over the other, but I think it's very important to understand how all of these things are interconnected. Even if we look at the UN Security Council, right? The legitimacy of the UN Security Council is up. You know, it's because they can vote for occupation in 1 week for safety of a nation, but then not vote for a ceasefire, right? And then when you look at the role of, like, Lula in both voting for the occupation and abstaining from the ceasefire. I think that these connections, they put contradictions on on its face. It helps us raise the really interconnecting issues that I think needs to be pointed out. And I don't think that people really understand because there is this focus, and I think that the whole world is anti-Black as a belief, and at this point, ideology, kind of smudges or takes away from how people can understand that this is not just something that's happening to Palestinian people. This is about the expansion, like what Rafiki said, this is about the land. So if we understand that it's about the land and the resources and the expansion of Western hegemony, then it really does not become a matter of Palestine being prioritized, but understand that if Palestine defeats Zionism, that is objectively a win for us all.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry I had to hop off. I had to take that call and pay for more materials for the finished renovation of these damn bathrooms. But anyway, I apologize for that. But like I said, I'm glad that the person asked that question, because those kinds of, we need to struggle with our people over these liberal and messy ideas. I mean, we can't ignore when these kinds of issues come up in our midst. If we claim to be revolutionary, we do have to make the attempt at least once to struggle with our people, to understand why these issues are important to us, why they are a part of our struggle, and why we are a part of their struggle. We are inextricably tied to the struggle of Palestinians, the struggle of Haitians for their liberation and self-determination, of the struggle for Nigerians, of the struggle for the people in Burkina Faso, of the struggle for the people in Peru. Dina Boluarte, the coup leader in Peru, propped up by the U.S., guess where she is? She's in Washington, D.C. today, taking meetings at the Organization of American States. So comrades are going to be over at the OAS, giving her hell. These are all connected struggles because we're fighting the same beast. And as Ricky said, if one of us can defeat one tentacle of this imperialist, white supremacist, settler, colonial beast, and that's Zionism, then all of us can win and defeat the whole thing. But we will not do it unless we confront both the struggles that we're all facing together in solidarity, but also if we don't face the liberalism that we know we have within our own communities. So there's that.
And that's a question I wanted to raise to the three of you, because I talked about this a little bit last night on my show, that I'm deeply concerned about Black American Christians, period, but Black American Christian elders and the way that they are viewing this situation in Israel and Gaza, because they have been deeply propagandized to sympathize with Israel, and Israel as this religious home base for Christians around the world. And I'm starting to hear a little bit of the discourse from Black people, especially Black Christians, Black churchy people. Well, we got to pray for Israel, and we got they don't see themselves aligned with the struggles of the Palestinians. They see themselves aligned with the people who live in Jerusalem, right? So in the ways that this situation is already very complex for folks who don't have somewhat of a political consciousness around it and don't quite understand, what are the ways that we can tell them that no, we rooting for Palestine in this, y'all. We're not rooting for Israel.
No, look, I as a person of faith, as a person who adheres to the teachings and the example of brown revolutionary Palestinian ass Jesus, he said, cuss them motherfuckers out. That's what he told me when I prayed last night. He said, I don't know what you're doing. Cuss them motherfuckers out.
That was in Proverbs. That was Proverbs, verse 6, chapter 23. Cuss them motherfuckers out. Said unto the Lord.
What needs to be told to these people, and I'm not just saying this just to be provocative. I sent a text to. Now, granted, I accidentally sent it to the wrong list of folks, but I said what I said. And when I realized that the interim minister saw it, I was like, fuck it. I said what I said. And I said some more. And last Sunday, there was not going to be anything said from the pulpit about this situation. And I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not going to sit through another apolitical sermon in this church. I'm not doing it. So yeah, you ain't seeing me today. And the interim minister responds, oh, the peace of God. I'm like, nah, fuck the peace of God. We need the justice of God. You can't get the peace of God if you're not concerned about justice. What exactly do you think no justice, no peace means? That's actually even in the Bible. So unless we're actually talking about doing something for justice for oppressed people, which is what the Bible commands us to do, we're supposed to fight for justice on behalf of the oppressed. Your prayers mean nothing, and the oppressed people don't want to hear them. And I'm not going to pray with people who are going to pray for Israel, who are the oppressors. Now, if I could say that to the minister who sits in the pulpit in my church, and that's not the Reverend Hagler, we have an interim minister. I don't understand what y'all's problem is, that y'all just can't tell people that they're wrong and they're lying. Because the people that they think they are defending the biblical Israelites. Those people in the Bible are not the same people that are in this thing called Israel today. These Europeans that immigrated to Palestine and stole that land, they're not the Israelites of the Bible. They ain't Hebrew. So they're not even the same group of people. Second, The Bible, nowhere in the Bible does it tell Christians that we must stand with any entity of people that oppresses other people. And if you look at Orthodox Jews who adhere to the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, they will tell you that everything that Israel is doing is a direct violation of every command that God gave the Israelites in the Bible, every single thing they're doing. So most Orthodox Jews are not Zionists. And then third, Zionism is not Judaism. Zionism is not a religion. It is a political ideology. It is a white supremacist, settler colonial political ideology that cynically uses the religion of Judaism to cover for their genocidal aims. Now, if you can't tell Christians that, then stay out the conversation. We are done. We don't have any more time for these polite conversation with these dumb motherfuckers who don't even read their own Bibles to know that they're being lied to from the pulpit and they believe in a bunch of bullshit that ain't true. Talking about praying for some damn Israel. Kiss my black ass. Don't do that shit in my presence.
Well, I'm not that abrasive.
I feel so much better now.
Wait.
I'm not
church say amen.
Praise the Lord. Okay.
Has a privilege of being in that group, age group. I can't be that abrasive with the elders to tell them kiss my ass and all that shit. But I do commend. I always cite the work that you and Baba Lukman did with the church, because I don't have any particular belief. I'm also not anti anyone's belief, but even in speaking, just as Jackie noted, a lot of people have not read the Bible. They are just citing things that they have heard. You know, that the Jews are the chosen people, that Israel is supposed to be the land for the Jews, but no one could really actually cite where it says that or anything. They just need to sort of repeat that propaganda. So I think with Jackie's and Baba Lukman's teaching has been useful, because I could have those conversations about, like, where does it say that? And then, have you heard this from where the anti-Zionist Orthodox rabbis are saying that is not, it should not exist. This is like completely anti-Semitic. This is like, against all Jewish religion. And then we had the conversation from there, because, again, I can't really be like, fuck that and fuck you. Other people, I'd surely tell them, you support Israel, you're going to hell. There's no question about that. But for the elders, I'm less abrasive. But yeah, I do think that teaching was remarkable, that you got to hear from all faiths, not just Judaism, but from Islamic faith and from the Christian faith, all standing collectively and using their texts to support their support for the Palestinian people.
And we should also remark quickly that, so this goes beyond just the church, right? Because most Black elected officials, it's almost the overwhelming majority of them, have stood solidly with Israel. The Congressional Black Caucus put out a statement. The school that my daughter goes to, which we're about to have a conversation, is doing a wall for Israel.
Oh,
so yeah, this is a magnet school, almost all Black magnet school. So it's a 90% Black magnet school, which is supposed to be like one of the top tier schools in Georgia for middle school or whatever. That's what they're doing. So this is about the whole idea of Israel becoming part of a storyline in our community that obviously refers to what Jackie was talking about, is some biblical story, which now we've been propagandized through, again, not only Israel's actions as spoke about last week in terms of how insidiously they've interjected themselves in our community with the trips and so forth, but again, with the modern propaganda system. This all goes back to the defeat of Black liberation forces in the 70s at the behest of COINTELPRO and other programs that they did, which basically turned the narrative around. People don't talk a lot about, like we brought up earlier, the idea of what gives us strength in terms of seeing colonial empires or subtle colonial nations defeated. That's what gave us strength in the 50s and 60s that also helped radicalize our communities. People talk a lot about how Black power radicalized other people. We were radicalized as a people because of the revolutionary winds in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America during the 50s and 60s that made us feel a part of a worldwide struggle against white supremacy and colonialism. So the fact that it ultimately in the late 70s that was defeated by the powers that be, and they re-put themselves or reasserted themselves. The fact that where we are now in terms of like what's happening propaganda wise and why so many of our community don't understand the idea of what Israel is, its settler colonial history, who it is, what it represents, who it's connected to. The fact that people don't recognize that, it does mean we all have a lot of work to do. And whether or not that's through individual meetings, whether or not that's through social media, whether or not that's through marches and rallies, we have to continue to make sure that we get back to a stage where we are pushing back against the lines that, again, so-called Black leadership that was elected when the movement was destroyed and everything got poured into getting these Black establishment politicians elected to office. All of that momentum and all of those resources that have gone there have brought us to this day where people who supposedly are representing us or look like us are standing completely with Israel. This is about the loss of a Black liberation movement. And now part of that struggle is how do we get that back?
Yeah.
Not just him, but Maryland Governor Wes Moore was at a Stand with Israel rally last weekend in Washington, D.C., and he spoke. And I said, oh, boy, at least he's sticking to the script.
Yeah. And you know,
she's not apolitical, but she's been deeply affected by all of the, I think she's becoming more awakened by just the coverage of it. The flat out lie that Biden could just tell a lie like that about seeing photos and things like that. So she's investigating it more. She's looking into it more. And she wrote Kwame Nkrumah, because that's her senator, her congressman. And she said, you all have to, I'm demanding that you have to push for Congress to call some sort of ceasefire, do something. And the letter that man wrote back, in the beginning, it started off saying that we appreciate that you reached out. And yes, we are deeply, deeply concerned about the violent terrorism of Hamas. Yeah, it was 2 paragraphs condemning Hamas. And then the last sentence was telling her that you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, etc. For if you want to reach out, continuous. But we're doing all that we can to defeat the terrorism of Hamas. And this is another Black congressman here. Obviously, Baltimore City has a long, deep connection with Israel and the IDF, starting with Elijah Cummings taking Baltimore City high school students to Tel Aviv yearly.
Shit.
And Brandon Scott has continued that in honor of Elijah Cummings. The IDF was just here 2 months ago, and they were greeted by the new state's attorney, Ivan Bates, who went on to talk about the long-standing history between the IDF and Israel and Baltimore, considering it sister cities. And so it's really sick, that Baltimore intends to do something around all of this, because we were already primed before this had happened to sort of expose those links alongside Palestinian youth movement. So now we're a little more anxious to do so. But yeah, it's a long-standing thing, especially in this state, especially with these politicians. I think Dharuma does a lot of good work around exposing that, especially the link. Like I think he said, like you cannot. There's no Black elected official in this country that can get a seat without kissing the ring of AIPAC. And then with Warnock, there's now a Democratic majority of Israel because AIPAC is a little too conservative. So they have another lobby group for Democrats. It's supposed to be a progressive, liberal Zionist group. And they supported Reverend Warnock, and they got him into office. So you won't be hearing much condemnation of Israel from him either.
Yeah. And, I think I'm just, extra frustrated. So I'm extra cussy today. So, you can feel free to take my talking points and take all of the cuss words out. 'Cause, yeah, but this is a part of my frustration at the Christian community in particular is because, as Ricky pointed out, my husband and I were doing this work to bring this education about Zionism to our faith community. We've been doing it for years. We did that teach-in that I uploaded here on Black Power Media in 2018 when Israel attacked the Palestinians during the March of Return, where they peacefully protested and marched up to the apartheid fence, demanding that the fence be taken down so they could return to their homeland. And how did Israel respond? By shooting people and killing people. That's how they responded. We, the church, we joined Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ because of Reverend Graylin Hagler, who has been not only an organizer for working class, poor, and oppressed people from Boston, Massachusetts, to Baltimore, where he's from, to here in Washington, D.C. for most of his adult life as a minister, as a Christian minister, but particularly because of his work in educating the congregation about what is going on in Israel and why it is not only wrong, but it is, quite frankly, it's a sin. And it's ridiculous for Black Christians in particular to support an apartheid state, right? So we have had these conversations with people in our faith community, and a lot of people in our church are older than me. They are senior citizens, right? So, I'm certainly not going to cuss them out the way I just generally cuss. But I am at the point where I'm tired of having polite conversations with people who we have been engaging with for literally years, exposing them to the truth, having people like Miko Peled and the young girl Jana Jihad and other Palestinians come to the church and speak and give witness, firsthand accounts of what happens in Palestine at the hands of Israel, and to have so many people in our church not be interested and not show up. Not, have the church packed full of people, but not packed full of people who are actual members of the church. So a part of me is also pissed off at them. But then, of course, a part of me is also pissed off that, damn it, me and Sean were right. We were right. And I'm angry that so many people have died proving that we were fucking right. So I don't know.
No.
I got a doctor's appointment.
Speaking of somebody who's always right.
So I'm gonna go cuss my doctors out now.
No. What? I got a special announcement though. I wanted you up here. I just completed some negotiations, so I have a special announcement.
What have you done?
Well, I mean, this is going to be my last day at the Remix and on Black Power Media. I've got another show, so it's going to be announced soon. I've been in contract negotiations with Sputnik.
You traitorous light skin.
So we got a show coming. Please.
You gonna talk about both sides? You gonna talk about both sides?
Oh my God! The name of the show, we banter around a couple of names. One name is Both Sides Except Ukraine. There's a little tagline there that says Except Ukraine. I don't know where that came from, but and then the other one is by almost no means necessary.
Oh shit!
But that I'm going to be billed as the voice. But that's I'm just saying.
Damn, you jacking names too?
I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I just wanted to say my goodbyes.
That mug now. You see why I broke up with him now?
Wow.
Dump him fast.
Wow.
Woo.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Boo.
Congratulations.
And I like to announce our new boycott. We are now boycotting Sputnik Radio and Kamal's new program, but we boycotting Sputnik anyway. But we're definitely boycotting Kamal's new program.
Wow.
Hefty new paycheck.
Nice little check coming through. Speaking of checks, big up to our people sending in some kid ass. Woo. Big up Parker, $5. It's so harmful how so many major media outlets were presenting it at a 50-50 possibility that a misfired Hamas rocket caused the hospital explosion. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Joey Africa, Tim Beans. What did Israel do when Hamas got voted in office? When Palestine went the work within the system route? How did Israel and the U.S. attempt to curtail the peaceful efforts? Any answers to that? No.
Yeah, well, they pushed for Hamas to get voted in. They didn't want the PLO. They didn't want the leftist, more socialist-leaning Palestinian organizations to win elections. So they pushed for I guess, the more nationalist, quote unquote, radical, extremist group.
Hmm.
And now here we are.
Bam. All right. And A. Crawley, 499. Exactly, just use Zionism, not Israel. Keep it simple and also push people to learn about Zionists. Honestly,
Israel is a
it's
Zionist.
sadly a term people don't grasp. Huh?
Well, Israel is a Zionist state, so I think it just helps folks. I mean, even when you're explaining it, right? Because I think that is a part of people not wanting to confuse Judaism with Zionism. But Israel is the creation of a Zionist project. So there is no separation from Israel and Zionism. There's a separation truly from Judaism and Zionism, because Zionism is a political ideology, but Israel is a Zionist state. It is a Zionist project.
And to be clear, also, however, it gets mass support from the larger Jewish community. There, of course, are people who are exceptions and people who represent sort of a radical left within, or people who are pushing against. But even as we talk about it, yes, it's not a condemnation of Judaism, but the folks who are practicing Judaism, for a large percentage of them, are supporting this imperialist project.
Right.
All right.
And those people have the microphone. I played a clip yesterday on my show from who's the leader of the ADL? Is it Greenblatt, Jonathan Greenblatt or Goldblatt? I'm sorry, but
MSNBC all the time.
right. He was on CNN and he made it very clear. He said anti-Zionism is genocide. Like, that's the quote. Like, I can understand how people who are not familiar with this topic or versed in it, when they hear a Jewish leader in America say something like that, they would be very reluctant to lend support to the Palestinians or to denounce the state of Israel. So the messaging is plain.
Yeah, well, now they're saying because now they're saying there's a rise in anti-Semitism, but what they're counting as anti-Semitism is just saying from the river to the sea, right? Because they're trying to conclude that from the river to the sea, Palestine would be free means that the eradication of all Jewish people, which is not the case. But just seeing these pro-Palestinian protests using that slogan, that is the rise in anti-Semitism that they're counting.
And the other thing we should quickly remark on, I know you're doing this, is, and this is no longer strictly a European project, right?
Right.
Because not only do we have the other nations we mentioned in the so-called Middle East, Arab nations, Islamic nations, who are willing to throw their support around Israel because they're going to get dollars and because they've already gotten money, they've gotten military equipment, right? So it is no longer just a European project. Other people who are supposedly the natural allies of Palestinians have been brought off willingly to now work at the behest of keeping Israel and telling the Palestinians to shut up and just take it, right? To stay in this sort of perpetual motion of where they are. And then lastly, the part of the population of Israel is no longer just European Jews. It is Jews from all over the continent, including the Middle East, who are now pro-Zionist. So there's still a racial characteristic to this, but this is a clear theological position that many people in that community are taking to support Zionism and thinking of believing the so-called biblical texts, at least how they interpret it, to go forth and support this project and actually move to Israel as part of the new population. Now, they don't represent the governmental leadership because there's still the white supremacist hierarchy there, but the larger population is more diverse than ever in terms of who's making it up, but still part and parcel of the Israeli project of Zionism.
All right. And big up to Infinite Content, $2. Just became a Patreon member. All right, big up. All right, new member to Patreon. Black Nito. You're gonna do the BAM rap, but put your name in it. I don't know what that means. Maybe y'all do.
I don't know.
Yeah, we got to read their comments, do we? Can we just give them the money?
No, we
Sometimes.
don't read their comments if they pay some
you
money.
do? You got to. It's like mandatory. You got to read it because they gave money.
mean, we gonna do $5 and up.
Courteous, maybe much come out.
Not always.
Grateful,
Not
appreciative.
always.
I know.
It should be a certain amount.
$4.99 and up.
Yeah, no, like $30 and up.
No, you're so greedy. How are you this way and so liberation minded at the same time? Like you want to go in people's pockets and redistribute what you went and what you done robbed. Like I mean,
that's Kamal, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
All right, but that's it. Let's go ahead and take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show and come back with some more for you. Let's get it. That's right. Keep on moving. Move that body around. Get loose and get ready for this week. We are on the hump day, Wednesday, right here on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. All right. Let's go ahead and hit that like button. New people on the channel, hit that subscribe button. We up to 464 people. About to hit 500 in a minute. If you tell a friend to tell a friend, it's on again. All right, so let's go ahead and get to a quick artist spotlight right here. Who we gonna talk about, as you can hear in the background? No other than Soul to Soul. What y'all know about Soul to Soul? Let me let y'all know about them if y'all don't. All right, they are a British musical collective straight out of London. Came about 1988. You know them for their big hits that came over here to the U.S. Keep On Moving. And the other one, Back to Life, Back to Reality. Especially when you heard that in the movie Belly. Now, they got 2 Grammy Awards, been nominated for 5 Brit Awards, twice for Best British Group. Now, they started off as just like a sound system. As people know, in Caribbeans, you got sound systems that travel around and battle each other. So they started off as a sound system over in London, and they was doing their thing. They got a lot of people to come in so big that they had to move to another nightclub called The Fridge. Fridge was pretty big. They wound up even having NWA come out and perform their Straight Outta Compton song back when that came out. So they pretty much blew up in the 80s, and then they came out in 1989 with their song Keep On Moving and followed it up with Back to Life, as it said on the Club Classics volume. So they're still touring. It's a whole lot of people in this band that came in and out of the band, but right now the current members are Jazzy B, Karen Wheeler, and Charlotte Kelly. Now they have, let's see, 6 albums. 6 albums. You can go check them out, but everybody, like I said, knows them for these 2 songs. And Get a Life, which is another dope song that came out afterwards. So with that said, that is, what's the name of this group again? Oh, Soul to Soul. So Soul to Soul, that is Soul to Soul. Now let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Crew. All right, let's get it. Yeah. What a summer when that song came out.
I know. What is the name of this group again?
Yeah, I don't know sometimes with Air Doctor.
Soul to Soul. I mean, you know, I do so many different people. I sometimes forget who I'm talking about.
Air
But
Doctor.
What?
I think Karen Wheeler is an ancestor. I think Karen Wheeler has been passed away.
Nah.
Let's look that up.
So.
I think so.
Really?
I think so. Well, the chat's about to tell us.
Yeah, they know so much.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, that was a great summer when that came out. Everybody was riding around pumping they tunes, and it's not like, you know, the whole. That's pretty much that whole Britain. We had Britain came hard. They had
they had Loose Ends.
Loose Ends.
Oh, Loose Ends.
Soul to Soul, Loose
Soul to
Ends.
Soul.
Who was the other one? Who did Watching You? Slave? Were they British? No.
No, I think you're wrong. I think she's alive. She's alive.
Yeah.
Is she really? Are you sure?
And she's 60 years old. She's alive.
And
Well,
my boy-
I'm glad to hear that. I'm relieved. Thank you so
And
much.
we're sorry we killed you off.
My bad, Karen Wheeler. That just brought like my whole body just relaxed when
Okay.
to hear
And
that she's still with us. Thank you.
Terrence Trent D'Arby, another one that
Terrence
came out.
Trent D'Arby, yo.
Yeah, it came out. Of
I mean, we could throw Lisa Stansfield in there, I suppose, but you know, it was the era, let's say.
She could come to the cookout. All right, cool.
Swing
Well,
out, sister. Y'all not ready for swing out, sister. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Sure don't. All right, well, that's what it is. I'll catch y'all next week.
Sade. I'm sorry, I'm gonna
Yeah,
stop.
Sade. I do.
Overrated Sade. Overrated.
What?
Oh, we need to that.
Oh,
fight him. I'm
oh.
about to pull
What?
up.
No. I just, is that her name? Overrated
No, I
Sade.
don't know.
Oh,
What do you
tell
say?
Disrespectful, boy. Sade's a whole mood that you don't even understand.
You don't even understand, son.
Yeah. All right, I'm out of here.
Little overblown.
Yeah,
Little
thank you.
overblown.
Thank you, ear doctor.
You know what I
Yeah.
think now? I think
Uh-oh.
that you can't freely give opinions in your home, so you bring them here. Because the amount of terrible opinions.
That might be true, actually. Yeah, there are. Yeah, I just get a look. I get a look. Yeah. Before I even start, and then it's like, oh, sorry.
Does the look? Does it work? It must work if you refocus.
Oh yeah. I be there right away. I gotta snap to it, like dinner guest or anything. I gotta snap to it. Like, oh, my bad.
Kim, you want to run with your story?
No, because it's rather sad, and we're gonna have to switch gears really, really quick. Let me send Kamal this one story because I saw the story yesterday. Kamal, I think it was Data for Progress posted this story, and this is about the amount of Atlanta voters who want the Cop City issue on the ballot this November. Overwhelmingly in the majority of the people polled in Atlanta said that they do want the Cop City issue to be on the ballot. So it's coming to you right now. Does not have a subject title on it, but maybe you could give us a update on that, or maybe you have already updated us on what's the status of the referendum and the petitions and the verification of the signatures. Has there been any progress or any movement on that?
So there hasn't been any progress on it, but you are correct. So there was a poll that we had internally done.
Oh, y'all did it. Damn.
Yes. I don't know if So we had the poll internally done and then put out the results of the poll to show people again that this issue is still alive and well, and that most people, no matter what they think about whether or not it should be built or should not be built, they want to be able to vote on this issue. And so the poll results, Progress think tank Data for Progress released the results of the poll on Monday afternoon. And that the survey also found that of those numbers, 73% of Democrats, 51% of third party or independent voters, and 18% of Republicans, that's nearly 60%, wanted to have a vote on whether or not Cop City gets built or not. We had to do this poll, we felt, because again, the mayor, the city council, the clerk's office of the city of Atlanta refused to move on putting this on the ballot. They were trying to basically slow walk this into death. And that as they build on the facility, that they're trying to change the facts on the ground. And so they're waiting, in my estimation, this is my estimation, that they're basically trying to wait for either a court order, which tries to knock the whole idea of the petition to be not something that can be done through the referendum process, or they're trying to wait until they've changed the facts on the ground to whereas even if we were to win, the court itself, even the court said the referendum is a proper place, but because so much resources have been poured in, that they're not going to allow this to be voted that way. So we see this as a way in which they are trying to continually slow down this process and stop it. But again, public opinion in the poll that we did, there's a plurality of people who are still opposed to Cop City. And even more important, there's a 60% majority, as seen in this poll, that are saying that they want to be able to vote on the proposal before it gets built.
Can we look at that Fox Atlanta piece that I sent you? Because I'm curious how the local media handled this information.
You want me to play the video?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me make sure there might be a little commercial. You know how they do.
Yeah.
See what happens. Here's a little.
Mute that jump. Mute that jump.
It's about over now. There
are renewed calls for Atlanta to put the planned controversial public safety training center to a vote. Dozens of opponents faced off against those who support the project at Atlanta City Hall today. One Atlanta City Councilwoman says she will push for the issue to be put to a vote. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at Atlanta City Hall with those details now. Deidre.
And we talked to Councilwoman Keisha Waite. She does believe that ultimately the voters should have the final say on whether that facility should be built. Now, that council meeting is underway at this hour with dozens of people speaking during the public comment portion of the meeting, both those opposed to and in favor of the facility being built. Those opposed do call for a ballot referendum. Atlanta City Councilwoman Keisha Waite and Ileana Bakhtiari are now weighing their next move after city attorneys told them they don't have the legal authority to introduce legislation for a referendum.
Which is ridiculous.
It's a controversial issue on the ballot in November.
But I do know that Councilmember Bakhtiari is working on some other language to possibly move this forward today, and I will be supportive of any measures that allow this to go on the ballot.
The move comes after Atlanta officials refused to verify thousands of signatures collected by activists trying to stop the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, saying organizers had missed the deadline.
My horse today is to represent those 116,000 individuals who took the time to sign a petition to be engaged in this process.
Count the votes and let it be heard. Supporters and opponents turned out for Monday's council meeting, some urging the council to halt the project. Others voicing their support for the state-of-the-art facility.
That property is going to be cleaned up and turned into a beautiful place.
Councilwoman Waite believes the process has lacked integrity and transparency from the beginning and is tantamount to voter suppression.
It's my feeling that the voters, not the mayor, not the council, should make these decisions when it comes to spending $67 million and making decisions for our government and our city.
Now, coming up tonight, all new at 5, we sat down for an exclusive interview with both the Atlanta Police Chief and Atlanta Fire Chief, what they have to say about this ongoing controversy.
I wonder what they have to say.
Right. I wonder what they have to say. Has Councilman Keisha always had this position come out? I thought
no, she's come out particularly strong over the last few weeks. I think she particularly came out strong on after the petition gathering. At the very least, at the very least, well, let me turn that off. At the very least, after the petition gathering and some of the turnout at City Hall, she's been strong in calling for a vote, which provoked the ire of the mayor. And there was actually text messages exchanged, which were made public, in which the mayor tried to attack her. And then she came back at the mayor. And since that point, she's been one of the strongest advocates, at the very least, for having people vote on whether or not this gets built. But in general, even those who've been let's say lukewarm on our side in the city council, the 3 or 4 folks, they have not been strong. And so that's been part of the problem. As soon as the mayor pushes back, or the legal department can give their opinion, it does not mean that the city council has to say that we take that as a law of itself. That is your opinion, but that is not necessarily how we can go forth. A so-called court could be the next step to battle out after we put it on the ballot. If you're so intent, then let's put it on the ballot, and then you sue. You openly show that you're going to sue to show that you're against this referendum being on the ballot. Why don't you do that if you're so clear in your politics? So the city council, even when it's had opportunities to say, you know what, we're going to just, because the city council has the power itself, it doesn't have to count a single ballot. The city council can put something on the referendum. They can go forth and do that, but they've allowed themselves, purposefully, of course, to be used by the mayor or to have excuses as to why they have not gone forth. And lastly, I'll say the whole idea that we never missed any deadline. We were given an extended deadline by a judge who said that he was recounting or recalculating the days to give us 30 extra days because there was no allowance of having DeKalb residents, which were right next to the facility where it's supposed to be built, allowed to vote. And so they gave us an extra 30 days. When we could not get any precise numbers on how much verified signatures we need from the city, and when we heard that the city intended to use a signature checking method, and to check every box to make sure that every box was exact, we decided that we were going to take the extra time that the judge gave us and to move forward and continue to collect signatures. When an appellate court said that timeline was now put on hold, then we gave in the signatures. That's when we gave in the signatures. So there is no missing of any dates that ever happened. That is an outright lie and a fabrication. The clerk's office can begin counting now. There's nothing preventing them from counting those signatures and verifying those signatures, just as there's nothing preventing the city council itself from putting this on the ballot and letting people decide.
You should run an email to that reporter and to the editor of that newsroom to make sure that they are aware that was misreporting and misrepresenting. Because that's an important detail. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, lay people who may not be paying attention to the issue, would watch that package and be like, "Oh, well, the organizers missed the deadline, so that's their fault." You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a crucial point that needs to be corrected and acknowledged.
No, you're exactly correct. And we do have a media team, and I'm sure they're going to get on it.
Word them up. Yes, remixers, thank you all so much for being here. Welcome again to the Wednesday edition, Black Power Media. We got Kamal Franklin in the building, Erica Keynes, Kim Brown, the Ed Doctor. Jackie Lukman was here, but she had to dip out, but it's all good. She's still here. Jackie dropped some gems on us, and they resonate. So don't forget to hit the like button. I do have a couple of stories, unless you guys had a story that you wanted to get to.
No, I don't have a story, but I just wanted to talk quickly about the town hall that Baltimore is producing this Saturday. So I have the link in the chat.
I'll put it up. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, the AFRICOM Cop City and You. I know with everything going on with Palestine and also with Haiti, the third one. The AFRICOM Cop City and You, if you click on that one. So that event we're having this Saturday, it's going to be a town hall event. We do want to still raise the issue of Cop City. I know I didn't say much in the last segment while you were talking about it, because I'm listening in and listening to the process that you all are going through, because we are thinking about how far to extend a petition, right? Because there's formal petitions that are done through the state, and then there's a petition that we could just have that they don't have to pay any attention to. So we want to bring those issues up at the town hall, get community in West Baltimore who are going to be directly affected involved. So that is this Saturday at 1. We're also going to be talking about AFRICOM, because it is still VAP's month of action around AFRICOM. So we do want to raise those connections that the 46 various military actions and bases that the U.S. has mirrors what a cop city would be or could be, this proposal. So we want to bring that to the attention of people in the area, but then also have a larger conversation about how people understand policing. This will be one of the initial 3 town halls that we will be producing. It is going to be at Douglas Memorial Community Church at 1325 Madison Avenue in Baltimore. It's from 1 to 3. We'll be doing it monthly. The next one would be on the Zone of Peace, again, making the connection between what's happening in Haiti, in Cuba, with what's happening in Baltimore, aligning the Cop City with, the School of the Americas and things like that, and how those things connect. But a lot of this is, we want to take these conversations into the community, right? I think people think these are highbrow academic terms and things like that, and it's not. And that's even a struggle within my own chapter, right? How do we engage or talk, or what language to use? And oftentimes, I don't think when we talk about meeting people where they are, it's not about so much dumbing down the language, right? But bringing that language to where the people are, where they're not hearing these terms, and they're not hearing these words, and they're not having these conversations. So we're trying to do that with these town halls. So that is one of many. Come out if you can. And especially since it's going to be at a church, we know there's going to be an older demographic that really does not get engaged around the conversation around policing, right? Or they're dismissed easily because they're seemingly pro-police without folks really understanding why they would be, or what kind of understanding they even have about safety, policing, etc. So we just want to lay out these conversations as the initial step into sort of building a broader base for setting up a larger campaign and fight against Cop City.
Good work. Good work. So someone else who's like anti-Cop City and will never ever DJ again for the mayor, for the mayor's office, for the city council. He's going to turn that money down flat. Your comrade and mine. The ear doctor?
You talking about me?
That's why we lose.
Tell them, ear doctor, the municipal checks come fast. They have your money at the door, Slim.
What? They don't blink when you say how much you want. What you
Right.
talking about? I
What
told
you
you I'm going to
need?
play black cop and
Well, at least you could do that. Play that. Play Black Cop.
Crooked Officer by Ghetto Boys. I'm playing all those first, and then come on, I got you. All right,
Then the wobble. Then the wobble.
Then the wobble. Exactly. Looks like bacon frying in a pan.
Oh, shit.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to our next break right here on no other than what's the name of this show? Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Hey.
Danger. Yeah. What's good, everybody? When Black Power Media is in the house, oh my God, danger. Yeah, so that's what it is. This is the Remix Morning Show. I'll go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Hit that like button, subscribe. We almost at 500. Let's keep it going, y'all. All right. So I wanted to talk about one of, I like to do artist spotlights. I was like, let me spotlight one of Ricky's favorite people. Who am I going to talk about? No other than Mona Scott. Let's talk about Mona Scott. Who is Mona Scott? Well, Mona Scott is a TV producer and entrepreneur. She's the CEO of a multimedia entertainment company. What is this? Monami Productions. She's known for the VH1 reality show franchise, actually, Love and Hip Hop. Born in New York City to Haitian parents. And she actually started off working at the Radio City Music Hall and then was hired by Trackmasters to be their manager. Started working with Chris Lighty and Violator Records, and worked with a bunch of different people like Busta Rhymes, LL Cool J, Q-Tip, Foxy Brown, and who she still manages today, some of those people. She's transitioned from producing The Road to a Stardom with Missy Elliott on UPM. That was a show she did. And then went from there, started working with Jim Jones. Said they wanted to do a show around him, but he was like, she said, I want to do a show around the sisters on here. So that's what started Love and Hip Hop. Had a huge success doing that and had many spinoffs from Love and Hip Hop to Love and Hip Hop Miami, all these different towns of ratchetness. And so she's got awards and accolades for doing this and showing our people in a certain light. So it's a nice getaway, escapism on TV. She's done that, done films, but she's definitely known for all the different reality shows she's put out. So Mona Scott, y'all, that is Mona Scott right here on Black Power Media. All right, let's get back to the crew. You know how we do. Yeah.
Erica wakes up every day and thinks about how can I mess with Erica.
I'm doing artist spotlights on people that contribute to our culture.
I mean,
go ahead. I didn't even know who that person was.
I mean,
I know who Mona Scott was.
I mean, but she had a career before Love and Hip Hop, and I think that's notable. I mean, working with Chris Lighty is not no small feat.
Nah, not at all.
Got a long term career. But I told you I am a Bravo girl. Okay, I have standards.
Whoa.
All right. When you do your Andy Cohen spotlight, I'm your
Oh shit! What?
Oh,
The who
Be
and
there
the
for
what? On where?
on here?
and Mona Scott. I'm not a I watch Love and Hip Hop, but I'm not a VH1.
I mean,
I
yeah.
don't understand. Does she deserve a highlight though? Do we need to do a highlight of the reality show?
But to Ricky's point, she had a long career before that. You know what I mean? That's just, I guess, the latest jewel in her crown. But I remember Mona Scott as being Busta's manager for a long time and working with Violator.
Oh damn.
Yeah, no. So she did the thing before she started doing the reality TV show producing. Do you guys think that reality TV show is like the 21st century black exploitation? Hear me sounding like Ear Doctor. Do y'all think it's the 21st century black exploitation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's escapism. It's another drug, another form of another drug that we can escape to and get away from the world.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's specifically black though, right? Because I think anybody who goes on reality TV is exploited, right? Because they're not contracted laborers. They don't have any real pay or say or anything. And then.
But it seems like the white gals is coming with a little bit more, they coming richer. I mean, I guess that they would come richer, right?
I could say that. But then in terms of housewives, right, is a spectrum. A lot of that is, you pay to play. So a lot of that is like smoke and mirrors. These people don't really have the money, white or black. Because the highest paid housewife is Candy. That's legit. Like Candy has the money right now. Before Candy was Bethany. But
she don't have the most money, right? Because when I saw Kathy Hilton was on a Housewives show, I said, "The fuck? What is she doing?"
Beverly Hills is an exception, though, because Beverly Hills, has the actresses and things like that. So that's where that Hollywood and that kind of money comes from. But for the most part, they're rich, right? These people are not rich, but they're not to the extent where they're not getting exploited the same. I mean, they're still flipping tables, they're still cussing each other out, they're still throwing water at each other, crying over cakes and all kind of nonsense. The same as physical altercations. Jersey just had one. They had to stop the show because they just had.
Did they really stop the show, or did they say they stopped the show and keep filming? Yeah.
Well, those cast members are off the show right now. They're suspended right now. But there's the same physical altercations as you would see on Love and Hip Hop. So when people do it like that sector or group is more or less.
Isn't this like an extension from
the soap
talk
operas?
Shows? Well, no, the talk shows. Some like Robert Downey Jr. It's kind of like somebody got the bright, like when that stuff hit.
I think
it's a mixture.
Morton, not Robert. Morton. What is it? Morton Downey.
Morton Downey Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
With the cigarette.
My bad.
Yes.
They're the same. They're the same.
But I would say it's a mixture of that and soap operas. Like back when you had Diane Carroll fighting Alexis. On,
was a scripted show with actresses.
I mean, this is somewhat scripted too.
Heavily produced. They're heavily produced shows.
I know, but these women are not. They're not thespians.
All the same sphere.
Yeah, they're not thespians, all right. But
no,
they definitely ain't thespians. That's an honor to be called a thespian.
A what?
But an honor to be called a thespian.
Not
They're
honor.
definitely
Nigga,
not
I heard you
thespians.
say honor. It was the other word.
What?
Nothing. You good? I'm gonna shut up.
Oh, okay. Let me.
What question does somebody have for who's how much?
How much for you?
$50. B. I'll answer any question you want for 50. Throw 50 up on it. Do a super chat 50, and you get your question answered.
Didn't we have a big super chat? Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's Barrows, $20. Cop City.
Sandra.
Gaza tactics to U.S. Free Palestine. Fight Cop City. Same struggle. And once again, infinite content with another $5. Kim, Kamal, Erica. I'll say this: we do not need any more IDF trained police forces in the USA. Stop cop cities nationwide.
Word them up.
So that's what it is. Let me get out of here. I might do a mix at the end of the show.
Hey, Doctor, do me a favor. Can you drop that link for the story I sent you? Can you drop that in the chat?
All right, cool.
And really quickly, I see the question. You got to pay nothing for that. I'm sorry. They're not building. They're putting up a artwork kind of thing on a wall that they already have. Not like actually literally, they're not literally building it, but they're putting up artwork on some wall in the school for Israel kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming is going on in a whole bunch of schools across this country right now.
No, I hope not. I haven't seen anything in my child's school.
Yeah.
Katie said the irony of Erica Kane speaking of soap operas. I was named after two. So the Ryan comes from Ryan's Hope. That's my actual name. So I was named after Yasmin Bleed's character and then Erica Kane.
Your mom was in it like that? She was in it
Like
like
that?
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes. ABC ruled this household.
All My Children. I remember All My Children was huge in my household too.
Hospital. So yeah.
As a kid, when I would miss school, I would watch with my mama All My Children. For some reason, it was like it sort of caught on, like even like dudes too. We were like, "What happened to All My?" And remember they brought in Jesse and what's the other one? Like the black couple and All My Children.
Oh, there was only one black couple.
Yeah, it was Jesse.
This was before their time come out.
My bad.
But I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm
Now
talking about.
off the air, I don't hear that as much. I grew up my entire life was Erica Kane's like All My Children. Oh, Erica Kane's like. So now that there is no more All My Children, I don't hear that as much.
Interesting.
Or at all, really.
I always wonder what was the delineation between black households that watch the ABC stories and the CBS stories. Me and my granny used to watch
ABC.
Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful. So much so that when I got to college, I scheduled my classes around Young and the Restless. I scheduled my classes around Young and the Restless. I had to be in my room to watch Young and the Restless for that hour.
NBC too, Days of Our Lives, and
yes,
used to watch Passions after school. Passions is the kooky one with the witch and the little midget.
That's right. That's right.
Watch
You
Passions.
can't say midget. You can't say midget.
Little person. Little people.
Yeah. Then you use the double. You said like a little midget, which doesn't go together. It's either,
Let me tell you guys something real quick. When I was
dwarf?
They're still dwarves because
You
there's
can do dwarf.
dwarvism. You can say dwarf.
Okay.
There was a Broadway play that closed. I think it's already closed, but me and Afra Ali went up to New York and saw this play. It's called White Girl in Danger. And the man who wrote it, black man wrote it. His name is Michael R. Jordan, I think, or Jackson. Either Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson, but he has his middle initial in it. Anyway, but I'm telling y'all, if you had to watch the stories with your parents or your grandparents, it is such a good Broadway play. Like he wrote it like a story, like the soap operas, like the daytime serials. And it was actually really good. Like it was very black, and he talked about Neil Winters from Young and the Restless, how Neil is anyway. But if you are a certain generation who had to watch some soap operas, it was a very good play. White Girl in Danger. Shout out to Mr. Jordan who wrote that for Broadway. Very well acted and sang too.
Kim, you never sent me what you thought you did.
We got wrapped up in a good conversation about soaps.
Yes. So anyway, thank you all so much. Aren't y'all impressed with these numbers on the Remix Morning Show as of late?
I'm not done with the soap operas though. One second, I'll bring this up.
I'm sorry, B. My bad, B.
As you talk, I'm searching because Ear Doctor said it was a different generation, but
What?
still,
No. I don't know. I'm old.
this was bam. Debbie Morgan, who was
Yes.
like
Was she
after
crazy?
Selma was a #1 heartthrob. Get off of my screen, whatever that is.
With those
But
dimples.
Jesse and Angie,
Yeah.
they were one couple for like black soaps or whatever. I think they had the traditional story. I think she was the good girl. He was like the hard knock kid, whatever. But they ran for a couple of years. Like they finally, because they had such a large black audience anyway, they finally decided to give us a little storyline. So it was always about whether or not they were going to get together and stay together and all the rest of it. So I just want to throw that out there.
Which is hilarious because that's what White Girl in Danger was about the black people trying to get better storylines. Like it was because it talks specifically about how black characters had to move up in the hierarchy of the writer, and the writer was this like omnipotent figure in the ether. I mean, really good. Anyway, sorry.
Well, to your point about of Young and the Restless, they did that to Drew, right? With Neil and Drew, they killed Drew off for no reason.
I think Drew actually got killed a couple times, to be honest.
The final Exactly.
But I remember like Young and the Restless, like that particular era with Neil and Drew and the other girl who looked like a Barbie doll. Like this chick looked like straight up like a black Barbie doll. What was her character's name, everybody? Was it Olivia?
Yeah. She was
And
with Malcolm, right?
Malcolm! That's right, Shamar Moore. Jesus. Oh my
Mhm.
God, when Shamar Moore was a hot piece of, you know what I'm saying? But no, they had a whole HIV/AIDS storyline because Olivia's husband was cheating with Keisha, and Keisha, but Olivia was a doctor, so she knew Keisha had the HIV, and then Drew came and told Olivia that her husband was cheating with the girl. I'm
Lord,
sorry.
this is why I make reality TV. This is why I watch Bravo.
Right. Maybe I need to come get converted to the Housewives because if it slapped like that,
it does.
It's a long tradition. It's a long tradition.
Oh Lord!
All right, who got a story? Y'all said. See, I beat you to it, here, Doctor. I beat you to it.
What you beat me to?
I thought you was going to talk about a story. Why are we doing news?
Oh no, I got something. I got something for you. Yeah. Speaking of one of the baddest to ever do it, let's not sleep on my girl right here.
Cool.
Wow.
It's burned.
You and your Diane Carroll.
Is it? The champagne was obviously frozen in the bottle at some point.
Oh.
If the champagne is too burned for your taste, Miss Devereaux, don't drink it. The caviar, I trust, is not burned. I really wouldn't know. This is Osotrova, and I prefer Petrosian Beluga.
Diane Carroll. Not only does she have that face, but there's something about the black actors of that era. Their enunciation, their dialect, like the way that
For her in particular. Yeah.
Oh shit!
But they always got on my nerve because they always were pushing that line. I think she did it. Harry Belafonte's daughter did it. Where they kept on like talking about how they needed to have like in real life they have white husbands and how come they can't have one on there when they act. Like, you know, you're taking roles away from people, B. You know, you just like no one needs to see your real life. You're in acting, and if they want to throw you a black husband, you're taking roles away if you say that.
Wow, that's shocking. I never heard that quote.
Yeah, I think it's Shari Belafonte, at the time. She was on some soap opera too and was talking about that. It's like, really? Is that a stance you're taking? That's your stance? That's your fight the power stance?
That's your diversity hill that you want to
die
on. That's what you want to die on, baby girl. You want to
it was flooding. So
check your email, Kamal. Ear Doctor claims to have not found my email, even though it says I sent it very clearly to him, but that's okay. So this is not good news, everybody. Content warning and trigger warnings abound. But this pertains to the story of a brother named Leonard Cure, who was shot and killed by police in Georgia. Leonard's story is particular because he was exonerated after facing a life sentence in Florida for robbery. He was exonerated after serving 16 years. I think the Innocence Project in Florida got involved with Leonard's case, and he had only been free for 3 years before this fatal encounter with Georgia police. And I think this clip is from the Today Show.
Strong reaction tonight from the Broward State Attorney's Office and others over the death of Leonard Cure, the first person exonerated by its conviction review unit. Cure, who spent more than 16 years imprisoned on a wrongful conviction, was shot and killed yesterday by a deputy in Georgia. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor reports from Fort Lauderdale.
The Broward State Attorney's Office speaks very highly of Leonard Allen Cure. This is the same county whose attorneys convicted him years ago. They then processed his exoneration almost 2 decades later. Now today, they cannot believe he died under these circumstances. Leonard Allen Cure is seen on this picture posing in April 2020. He had been released from prison after more than 16 years behind bars. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, on Monday, he was shot by Camden County deputy along Interstate 95 near the Georgia-Florida line.
It's not what you're expecting to hear, so you're in total shock.
Seth Miller was notified by Cure's mother. He is the executive director of Innocence Project of Florida, the agency that represented Leonard Cure in his exoneration process.
To have him return to them exonerated and proven actually innocent.
Cure was convicted and sentenced to life in prison in 2003, but his case had issues from the start. In 2020, the Broward State Attorney's Office asked a judge to release Cure from prison, and he did.
Just last week, he bought his first home. That's where he was going.
Cure, 53, bought a house in Georgia after Governor Ron DeSantis compensated him with over $800,000 for having been wrongly convicted. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which is like the FDLE, said through a news release that a Camden County pulled him over. He got out of the car at the deputy's request and cooperated at first, but became violent after he was told he was being arrested. Miller says exonerated people live in constant fear.
That at any moment, the liberty that you work so hard to achieve after a wrongful incarceration can be taken away from you.
The Broward State Attorney's Office sent a statement saying, "We are devastated by the death of Leonard Cure. We knew him as a smart, funny, and kind person." We reach out to Leonard Cure's family for comments, but at this moment, they're not speaking. In Fort Lauderdale, Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
CBS Miami there, not the Today Show.
So just one quick thing on the framing. Ron DeSantis did not compensate anybody. He sued. He had lawyers who sued for his illegal incarceration. And the state of Florida settled. The law department settled. Obviously, the governor may sign off on such a thing, but it's the framing. And then also the framing of just spying, well, just repeating again, as they do, the police version of events that he became violent is always disturbing, because obviously we know that there's so much more details to what took place to the story. And for them, becoming violent means asking a cop, "Why am I being stopped? Why do I have to get out the car? What do you mean you're going to arrest me?" Those words alone, that inflect nothing more, are going to be considered violent, particularly after they pull a trigger and kill somebody who has the nerve to ask a question. I mean, it's just a horrific incident to have somebody, but not unexpected in America, right? But to know that this person who was wrongfully incarcerated for so many years, and then, of course, to then ultimately still be killed by the system, if not slowly be killed, but to overtly be killed, this speaks to how America works. So, yeah.
Just thinking about, the fact that he spent 16 years. First of all, he was sentenced to life for robbery, which blew my mind. Like, obviously he was exonerated, but the fact that robbery can carry a life sentence really was just appalling. And then the fact that he had to spend 16 years for something that he did not do, was ultimately exonerated for, is a tragedy within itself, right? I mean, 16 years of your life gone, and for what? But I'm concerned about transparency in this, which I don't expect any. And not to say that Georgia is specifically egregious in its lack of transparency when there are police murders.
No, it is. But
you think so?
I mean, aren't they all? I mean, yeah, it's hard to differentiate in that, right? Because any state you go to, this kind of thing happens, and they're always hiding, delaying, tripping over themselves to get out a version of events that justifies their murdering of Black people. But of course, the same, so the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which allegedly is investigating, is the same entity that killed Tortuguita,
right?
And then came out with the story around how Tortuguita was, again, taking bullets and throwing improvised explosions at the same time. So I don't.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, so this year alone, right, in Georgia, they have refused to release the body cam footage where Tortuguita was assassinated. They are slow walking or outright refusing to release the footage of Deacon Holloman. And here we have this incident, all coming within the same year, within months of each other. So it's like, the GBI is just doing whatever the fuck at this point, right? Like, who do they answer to? The public? There doesn't seem to be any intentionality of being accountable to the public, or even accountable to the families of these murdered people. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see the footage, and I haven't found reports where they claim that there is any that exists, but should be.
Yeah, I think that was my next question. If there, I mean, I don't. It's a struggle, right? Because initially, when this was all being pushed, the cameras, the body cam footage, these sort of liberal reforms, we know that they have their sort of limitations, and the cops can turn them on, off, they can mess with the footage, etc. And they haven't really fared well in our favor too often. But I don't know. When you were reading it, or you were, and as they were reporting it, I didn't hear any mention of like any sort of camera footage from either body cam or on the police vehicle, because I know that they do record on those either way. So we don't know to what extent the violence occurred, because just as Kamal mentioned, I mean, they can determine what's violent. Any sort of pushback or response could be violent to people who are already, set in prime to react. So anything could be considered violent. And then I like that the person from the Innocent Project mentioned that, yeah, there is going to be a trigger if someone who is now like was facing that served 16 years, is facing a life sentence, is now getting their life together. They're on their way to their new home, and they're told, "Oh no, you're going back to jail." Yeah, there's going to be a reaction. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's a tragic situation, but it's not uncommon. And I think that's the real tragedy, right? This is just one of many. And I do wonder, with the amount of names that continue to pile up, that the focus on like these individual situations moves us away from understanding why these things occur and actually tackling the why, because we're going to just keep saying names.
Hmm. Yeah, and in the story, there's no background given around like what percentage of these people who are wrongfully convicted and get out are Black. What is the percentage of people who are killed like that, so that we understand that this is, like you said, like this is a systemic thing. This is something built into the system, as opposed to this sort of like the presentation of this individualized story and what a tragedy it is individually, as opposed to this is a condition of oppression. And that's why it happens. That's why no one is shocked. People may be surprised at the individual circumstance under which it took place, but no one is really shocked that it happened, right? No one is shocked that the police killed another Black person. No one is shocked that a Black person spent, even if they did the crime, spent an inordinate amount of time in prison. No one is shocked that the person wound up not doing a crime. Like, that's all part of what America is. And the fact that we choose to allow, or that these stations, and there, when I mean say like this, that the media propaganda purposefully makes it individualized cases, is meant to take us away from collectively organizing against these things in a way that would bring more political consciousness to the larger group of folks who would hear these stories. So, but of course, they're not going to do that. But yeah.
Yep.
Did we talk about Ruchell? I see people in the chat mentioning Ruchell. Do we want to? Okay.
Ruchell
McGee, not.
Oh.
Yeah.
So really quickly, I'll bring up, this is from when Ruchell McGee, who was released in August after spending 67 years in prison. Part of that time was he was already locked down in prison. And then part of that had to do with the infamous attempt by Jonathan Jackson to get George Jackson released from prison through a prison break. Michelle McGee passed away the other night. He was, how old was Ruchell? I think he was 85 or 80, about 85 years old. I know, 84 years old. And he's now passed away, with, again, the vast majority of his life being spent in prison. I'll briefly read this part of this article about what Ruchell is most known for. It says, August 7th, 1970, Ruchell had spent almost 15 years in prison for charges that he continued to deny. The day he was called, along with another prisoner, William Christmas, as a witness in a prison murder case. Suddenly, George Jackson's younger brother, Jonathan, entered the courtroom with a number of weapons, which he distributed among the defendants in the case, James McClain, as well as McGee and Christmas. They took the judge, an assistant attorney, and 3 jurors hostages, demanding liberty for George Jackson and a guarantee of safe conduct for themselves. Or safe, I guess they mean like safe travel the way they wanted to get out or whatever like that. However, when the group went to a waiting van that Jonathan Jackson had brought with him and tried to leave the Marion County Courthouse premises, the Marion County Police and San Quentin guards opened fire. When the shooting stopped, Judge Harold Haley, Jonathan Jackson, William Christmas, and James McClain lay dead. Ruchell was unconscious and seriously wounded, as was the prosecutor. As the sole survivor of the group, Ruchell was charged with kidnapping, aggravated assault, and murder, along with Angela Davis, who was alleged to have provided Jonathan Jackson with the guns. The trials against Angela and Ruchell were then separated. Davis was acquitted after she was on the run for several months. And Ruchell, who we see pictured here, was convicted. So Ruchell McGee, who post that time became a political prisoner for 50 years, basically passed away yesterday at the age of 84. Yeah, we are reaching this time period where most of the folks who, from that era, are either they've gotten out, not everybody, but some of them have gotten out, but they've gotten out under the circumstances in which they are close to passing away or close to dying. And so they've for all of their lives. And then have decided, in a lot of ways, this is tactical for them so that they don't have to deal with insurance costs and burial costs, to be honest. And so this is part of what they do, is that they release these folks knowing that they're nearing death. Baba Matulu Shakur passed away not too long ago in a similar circumstance, that they let them go when they know that they are about to pass. And so, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Dilbert and Chuck Africa, right? Only months after they were released, they passed. Russell Maroon Schultz, only 1 month after his release. Matula Shakur, as you mentioned. So, it speaks to the state of the actual movement to free our political prisoners, because a lot of the fight has been so long that we're at the point where we are asking for just, compassionate release at this point, so that they can at least die at home with their families, because the state really is not trying to let any of them go. And it's looking like that might be the case for Mumia, if they ever let Mumia out, because the fights have been decades long, and there's been a lot of wins, and they still remain in jail and in these circumstances, regardless of those wins. So it does seem like that they want that to be the case for all of them, to just have some sort of compassionate release, quote unquote, but just know that at the end, all right, yeah, go home to your family, but that's it. You can't do much organizing. You can't do much speaking. At the most, people will, gallivant around you just because of who you are in the end. Just to get that last feel of being around a revolutionary spirit, but the impact that you may have, it won't be the same. And I think that they know that, and they're pushing for it. And I don't know, I think it speaks a lot to the state of our organizations, especially around political prisoners, that this is where we are. We're now at the point of we've just been squeezed into just asking for compassionate release and fighting for compassionate release. And even that is a fight, right? They're not really even trying to do that. They make that difficult. So yeah. I don't know.
All right.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, it's why it's been such a blessing to have people like Jalil Daruba, who spent 19 years but was released when new evidence was found that they could not throw out around the DA hiding information and not turning it over to his defense attorneys. But those are few and far between, as you stated. For the most part, they try to keep out folks until the very end. So it's about the state of the struggle, to be honest. So Miriam, I answered your question. I ain't charging nothing. So you on tape delay or something. I don't know what's going on. You on tape delay. Tape delay. There is no wall. There's no new wall that's being built for the second time, Miriam. You're gonna have to give me money now just to talk. You know what I'm saying? They're putting up one of those pro-Israel wall, like it is like they're treating it like a 9/11, right? They're trying to treat it in a way to gain sympathy for the state of Israel by getting school kids who know little to nothing about the conflict to put things up from adults who know little to nothing about the conflict, but who are propagandized because of either their spiritual beliefs or what they watch on the news, that yes, of course, this is what we're supposed to do. And so now they have kids doing it.
I know, but damn, leave the kids out of it. You know, if you want to, wallow in your own indoctrination, fine. Leave the children. Can you leave the fucking kids out this shit? Stop putting this shit on the children. But
yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation. Yeah.
Children are the most important part of the propaganda. When we look at what happened in Syria, they had that little Syrian girl roll out, the incubator babies, that was a child. So children are the center of the propaganda wars.
Look at all the stuff you learn right here on the Remix Morning Show. Before we get out here, big up to ZZ Lion Dad, Richard Bay, Jerry Springer, reality TV, same show, different era.
Hey, wow.
And also big up to one of the most African American names ever, Nathaniel Leroy Turner. Thank you for becoming a new member on our YouTube.
True.
Nat Turner, let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Nat
and,
Leroy.
2 F's, rest in peace. Yes, that's right. So
that's a Franny.
Franny French.
That's Franny French.
Yes. All right, so that is it. And for my last bit of pettiness, Kim, you did not ask me to go to the emails and check for you asked me to go to the chat room. All right, so I just wanted to put that out there.
That's old news, though.
Please, doctor, do me a favor. Can you drop that link for the story I sent you? Can you drop that in the chat?
All right, cool. Okay.
Oh wow.
So I'm gonna go ahead and
He clipped it, B. He clipped it.
I learned from the best of pettiness.
Petty her.
Yo, that's what it is.
Pay for me in.
I got receipts.
No,
thank you.
I got receipts.
And he bought the receipt.
I'll kick you in your shins. Schizophrenic femininity.
I can't remember the name of the show he on, but he can run a clip.
Enough of y'all.
Wake up from all those savage dreams.
We out of here. Remix Morning Show. We catch y'all tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Peace.
Earrings and those silly chains. It's really just a waste of time. The queen is mine. Wake up, the wise black queen is mine. She's mine. She's mine. Ease off.
This one dedicated to Shakila, cause she need me more than more than sister need me, and I need her like no other before. I tell you, strong be the vibe that combines us together. Lots of love, trust, and truth, and understanding is forever. No fighting, no one's true, and hope like hell they don't fight mine. Reflection rules the ignorant, love's not blind, boy. I see clearly daily, maybe crazy. I'm like she's all this, she's all that, and it gets great to bob the hour. Not the X of separation, though that's one of woman's power. Black man's guide to understanding the black woman's full of power.
Homeboy, I came to party.
Hey.
Your girl was looking at me. She's a haggler, no, I'm not tagging her, but you don't want them boys to come over and start asking you what you wanna do, what you trying to do, what you wanna do, what you trying to do.
Changes I've been going through, I wanna be with you.
Come on, let's go.
It's all gone. The love I thought we shared is gone away. Maybe it's better that we didn't stay together.
We out of here, y'all. Till tomorrow. Peace.